So sorry this is so late. But yeah, the rest of the EAT conferences and a few other things dotted here and there from the E3 stuff from last weekend. So we covered all the Saturday and Sunday stuff on the last video, so that should be somewhere over on the side or below or somewhere. So Square Enix started us off with the pre-recorded video. Starting off with some gameplay, which they actually showed for the first time, of the new Shadow of the Tomb Raider game. Which looked pretty nice. It sort of looked more like a Predator thing, because we're getting some stealthy massacre-like kills and whatever. It looked alright. Hopefully it's the last one. From the way they're wording it, it sounds like it's certainly going to be leading up to what we're going to get in terms of the actual sort of the main Tomb Raider games. Final Fantasy XIV got shown off. They're doing a Monster Hunter World crossover in the game, so some of the Monster Hunter World creatures like the Rathalos and all that are going to be showing up. It's nice and whatever. The Under the Moonlight patch was sort of what they were pushing really with it. Then they showed the Life is Strange prequel, the thing that they showed off at the Xbox conference. It is a free download, and it's basically going to lead into the Life is Strange sequel. They confirmed again in the trailer. Dragon Quest XI. That looked pretty nice as an RPG. The thing is, though, no word on an actual Western release date for the Switch version, or the 3DS version that is already out in Japan, even coming to the West. So if they put that in just to appease the actual Japanese contingent that we're watching, then, like, there was some mech crazy sort of thing. Maybe. Babylon's Fall, which is the new thing from Platinum, that looked intriguing, but that's all we got really out of it, so nothing substantial. Octopath Traveler, which is just basically been released, so okay. Just Cause 4 looked fun, coming out in December. And then there was a live action, not live action trailer for The Quiet Man. More's going to be revealed in August, but in all honesty, it's certainly PS4 and Steam. But in all honesty, when it went to the live action, when it went to the gaming stuff after the weird live action bit, it really didn't look that impressive. I mean, hopefully we find out more in terms of actually who's developing it. Apparently, apparently it is Platinum Games. But that's it. And then they had a video package for Kingdom Hearts, which was 85 to 90% what we'd already seen, with a couple of different scenes. And then that was it. Nothing, no sort of mentions as to what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake, considering that's been, 3 years since announcement? If I can get the camera framed a bit better. When asked about it afterwards in various interviews, certainly IGN is the one that I saw quoted on the Eurogamer article. They are working on it in-house, because apparently they took it from the outside developer that they were doing it with, and they want it in-house so then they can focus on, the true art of it or whatever. But a little concerning. but we'll see. So then we transition into Ubisoft. So we started off with a panda dancing, because that's how we acknowledge that Just Dance is a thing. It's a nice sort of little crazy thing to open the show with. I guess Bethesda was trying to do the same with Andrew WK, but I guess because there was no advance warning of it. Whereas Ubisoft, it's like we expect Just Dance to open, considering it's like the third straight year that Just Dance has opened in just a sort of little mini montage thing. So that's coming out in October. Then Beyond Good and Evil 2, which looked very nice, and turns out Jade is showing up in this thing. Now, if you remember, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is a prequel to Beyond Good and Evil 1, so that's confusing as all hell. But it looked very nice. There was an extended demo at E3, which a lot of people were excited about. But then they were talking about how they want the community and the fan base to be doing everything in this game. To make it truly a game for the fans, by the fans sort of thing. So they're collaborating with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Hit Record to allow like artwork and music and all sorts of stuff to be involved. It seems complicated as to what's going on with that. There's more details on the Hit Record Beyond Good and Evil 2 stuff, but I don't know. It looked alright. And then, of course, the mic was left on, and the woman that was on stage just goes, "We nailed it!" And it's like, that's the like excitement that you don't get to properly see, because it just looks like boring stuff. They talked about Rainbow Six Siege with some stuff. And then highlighted a Rainbow Six documentary, I guess, that's trying to be similar to all these other esports documentaries. That'll be debuting during their big Rainbow Six Siege tournament finale in France. I think it's next month, maybe. Then Antti from Redlink showed up, literally on a bike, through the crowd. Got up on stage and smashed a television on a platform on purpose, clearly. And Trials Rising got shown off. Then Professor Fat Shady, yes, that is his given YouTube name, showed up. Apparently he's done like tutorials and whatever to get people used to the trial stuff, because there wasn't really a good tutorial system. And the fact is that they've actually collaborated with him to bring that tutorial sort of stuff into the game, so it's not going to scare off, too many people. The closed beta is coming later this year. The game is coming out February 2019. No exact date given. And it's also coming to the Switch as well. Then Julian Geraghty comes out to present Division 2. Which looked alright, but I don't know. The thing they did stress, though, is there's going to be a bigger focus on the end game, considering how really not great it was in terms of the first one. There will also be raids in as well. All DLC episodes that will be included with it will be free. There isn't a season pass, even though I think there is, in some shape or form. Then we have some Rabid stuff and a live Grant Kirkhope performance with some people with musical instruments, hyping the Donkey Kong DLC that's coming at the end of the month. Which is nice. Then Skull and Bones which looked very interesting from sort of the combat stuff. Still no date given from that, for what I remember. Let me have a quick look. Any details as to when it comes out? Yeah, still 2019. No specific date, so we'll see. Then Transference had its next showing with the guy I can't remember. Because when they showed the actual trailer, it's got Macon Blair. Yeah, that's it. Macon Blair looks to be, you know, who was great in Blue Ruin, great in Green Room. Sort of good in sort of all the little bits that he has been showing up in. But yeah, he's going to be featuring in this. It's a VR game, but it's also getting a standard release, so you don't just have to play it in VR. Which is interesting, because it was supposed to be a VR exclusive. But it does look an interesting sort of creepy psychological style thing. I'm intrigued to see where it comes. It's supposed to be coming, I think, like September or October. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it's listed on Steam as coming out in the fall. It was originally supposed to be the spring of 2018, but I guess that got delayed. Probably because they aren't going to just have it with VR. Then they had the Toys to Life thing, Starlink, which I think is a risky venture considering the Toys to Life thing. I mean, the fact that Skylanders, although it made a lot of money, died because it didn't make enough money. Lego Dimensions died because it made a lot of money but didn't make enough. The Amiibo are just figurines, really, but also by chance have interactive features. Disney Infinity died, so I'm intrigued to see how well this does come October. The big thing, though, is when they tie it into Star Fox. Star Fox is going to be Switch exclusive, obviously, and Yves Guillemot, who came out, brought Miyamoto up from the crowd onto the stage, and they showed up the prototype of what the Star Fox ship toy thing will look like in terms of playing it. It certainly looks nice, but again, it's like, I really hope that you don't have to have the toys in order to be able to do it, because it could be risky. Then For Honor stuff, which is going to be getting a new expansion entitled Marching Fire, coming in October. The game was also made available free for you to get, the starter edition anyway, on Uplay. Probably too late for you to get it now, more than likely. But they quite often have sort of free weekends or free stuff for that game to try and get the people into it. There's also going to be a new 4 versus 4 multiplayer mode called Bridge. Then a brief trailer thing for The Crew 2, which doesn't make sense because it's like coming out in weeks and they're trying to hype it up and everything, but I don't know whether they didn't really express close enough in the trailer how you can just change it will, it seems, from like a plane to a car to a boat to a car to a boat to a plane to a boat, you know, switch between the three. And then Assassin's Creed, a sort of continuation to the story by the looks of it, even though it won't be featuring any of the characters from it. And yeah, they are going to ancient Greece, which they already confirmed anyway, but It was certainly teased at the end of Origins. But the big thing is you'll be able to choose your own character. You'll be able to play as a woman or a man for the first time. From what I can tell, it's basically what your avatar looks like in that sense of changing the character. It's not like it was in Syndicate when you had the Fry siblings, of which they had slightly different missions. I believe it's the same missions from whatever. The same missions, but just it's like, do you play as a woman or play as a man? It looked nice. Looks like we've got some more RPG stuff with some branching conversations, so we're going even more witchery. But that looked good. And then that's where it ended. No big sort of climax and everything. No one more thing sort of deal, but it was still entertaining, and pretty much everything in it looked solid and good. So, some of the other bits that showed up in the PC conference, because there were so many things. Satisfactory, sort of a 3D version of Factorio. Weirdly enough, from Coffee Stain Studios, the guys behind Goat Simulator. This one actually looks like an actual serious game. Not to say that Goat Simulator isn't serious. It's very serious. Then we had the new game from Insomniac that isn't Spider-Man. Stormland, which is an Oculus exclusive by the looks of it. A first-person robot thing where you probably are playing Johnny Five. Then there was some Sega details, including the fact that Valkyria Chronicles 4 is coming to Steam soon, and Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza 0 are coming to PC. They're not just going to be on the PS4 anymore. Full disclosure, I've already pre-ordered Yakuza 0. And I can't wait for it to come out in a couple of months. Well, early August I think it is, so yeah, a couple of months. So I'll be playing the crap out of that, I think. Might actually get to streaming again, because it was actually fun. The question is, can the rig handle it? Probably not. Also, there was some new stuff regarding Overkill's Walking Dead, which will be coming November 6th to North America and November 8th in Europe, which looked nice. Sort of like any Overkill sort of payday sort of game. It looked good. And then, of course, there was good old fun in the new game from Tripwire. You know, the guys behind Killing Floor and all that. Maneater. An RPG, which is single player and open world, where you play as a shark. Because yes, the idea is you are going to be a giant shark that's terrorizing the beach lines and the waters of America. Okay, Tripwire are publishing it, and Blindside are actually developing it. But it's got a shark skill tree, apparently, where you can evolve different parts of your shark's body. You know, getting bigger teeth, increasing ferocity. It's got sunken wrecks for you to be able to swim through as well, and swamps. Because I guess we're sort of combining it into sort of Cali and then into sort of the deep south sort of area. The bayou and all that. No release date, but it looks fun as hell. right in the middle of it, aside from the PC gaming show, Valve announced that they're launching Steam China in collaboration with Perfect World, which is one of the big Chinese games online platforms over there. So Steam will officially be available over there. That randomly got dropped in the middle of it, because of course it did. And then there was an interesting Bohemia, the guys behind DayZ and Arma, announced a Scandinavian-based post-nuclear war survival game called Vigor. It was in a brief cinematic trailer at E3. Apparently it's only for Xbox One. Okay. That got announced at sort of around the same time, though. But yeah, there was quite a lot in the PC show, and it was a sort of very entertaining and looking good package, I should say. So then we get I don't know. So we start off in a tent. Where you sort of, I mean, they clearly, looking at it, they clearly didn't think that they were putting cameras in there, because it really didn't look right. Sean's doing his speech, people are talking, people are standing because there's no seats. And they start off with Last of Us. Gustavo Santaolalla is on his banjo, playing the music and everything. And the reason why they're all in this weird thing is the church-looking thing is one of the environments that we see in the Last of Us 2 trailer. Because it's like, oh look, you're in the area where this is happening, and whatever. And the big thing that garnered a lot of attention is the normalization of the lesbian kiss. It just felt natural. And then, of course, was immediately followed up by death and murder. You know, stab in the neck. It was like... The gameplay looked good and everything. No dates and everything as to what we got. But looked very nice. And then they're moving everybody from said church area into the actual building where they're doing the rest of the conference. Which really sort of hurt the flow, to some extent, of what was going on. So they filled the gap with basically everything that we'd already seen in terms of other stuff. You know, the Tetris game, Days Gone, and all that sort of stuff. They also added that there will be a new game plus being added in some sort of DLC fashion to God of War soon. Then they had some Black Ops 4 stuff with some map pack exclusivity, with the idea that they're calling it Back in Black, I think. The idea that they're going to be having old maps from the original games being sort of remastered, if you will, for Black Ops 4. But the big thing that sort of came out of it was, as a stealth drop, Black Ops 3 is available free for PlayStation Plus subscribers as an extra bonus game for this month, which is nice. I've already claimed it. Still need to get the PS4 back out the box after I turned it on, just to establish it and everything, like last year. Destiny 2 stuff, with the trailer that looks like it might have killed off Nathan Fillion, maybe, and they just left it as that. It's like, yeah, you want to find out more? It's $40, please. Like, ooh. I mean, yeah, it's nice to try and catch people with, like, they're going to pay for it, but then at the same time, I don't know. And now it's time for a bloke with a bamboo stick. For Ghost of Tsushima. With some samurai ninja style stuff. It looked very nice. Apparently what was shown was only a side quest. It wasn't actually a main mission. It looked good. It very looked good. And then we had Control, the new game from Remedy, which looked very nice. I will say that's all we know. We don't even know the release date. It might not even be 2019. Then we had Resident Evil 2, which looked great. From what I've heard, people who have played the demo, including Kenny Omega and all the big Resident Evil fans, really are rating this as an incredible game. The great thing is we don't have to wait too dramatically long for this. The fact that this is the first time that we've seen it, and they're saying, oh, by the way, it's coming out in January 25th to be exact. Yes, I guess that's the first game that you're playing in 2019 until February 22nd, when every single game under the sun comes out. Then Trover Saves the Universe for PSVR from the Rick and Morty guys, which looked sort of nice, but I don't know. It was very Rick and Morty, but it sort of felt a little bit too Rick and Morty. It felt like, remember that viral clip of the guy going crazy about not getting his Szechuan sauce at McDonald's? It felt like that. Not in a good way, in a sort of like, are we trying too hard now? Then some more Kingdom Hearts stuff, of course. But then again, it was nearly the same trailer again. To the most extent. Then Death Stranding stuff with gameplay about like walking around Iceland like delivering babies. Leah Seydoux in it as well. Still no clue as to what it is, and also Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman, is in it as well. So big names. Still don't know what it is. Everybody seems to be saying it's just like, deliver this baby by walking around and doing nothing. I still don't even know whether that's coming out in 2019. And then, randomly, Neo 2 gets revealed. No date or anything, but it looked very nice, and considering how well Neo 1 performed, that looked good. Then Spider-Man, which looked nice, with the gameplay and everything. The big thing as well that's come out of it, the video game is going to be Marvel canon, because it's going to tie into the, I can't remember the name, it's sort of like the Spider-Verse or whatever they're calling it, that's going to be coming into the comics in the next couple of months. So the stuff that actually happens in the game from this game from Insomniac is going to be Marvel canon in the comic books for good. Which is a nice little touch. And then just randomly at the end, because it wasn't on the main feed, but it was actually on the sort of post show, because they wanted to add it just randomly there, so when people randomly were leaving. Deracine, which is a PSVR game from Software. Looked nice and all, but I mean, I'll leave it there. And then Nintendo. Oh boy, Nintendo. Oh boy, Nintendo. So we start with a whole load of mechs. It looks Gundam-esque to some extent. It looks Zone of the Enders-esque. It looks fun anyway. Daemon X Machina, and that's or Demon X Machina, I guess. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. Demon X, as in the letter X, and then Machina. They're obviously playing on the Deus Ex Machina sort of line. It's coming in 2019. The big stuff, by the looks of it, that has come out from Marvelous. I mean, there's some Harvest Moon stuff on the Game Boy Advance, some Half Minute Hero on PC, on the DS, or I guess the 3DS. They did Story of Seasons, the Harvest Moon games on the GameCube. They did 13, or they published 13, I should say. I had a UFC game. Just looking, because the name Marvelous Entertainment rings a bell, and I don't know why. No More Heroes they published. Half Minute Hero. I'm guessing it's being developed by them in-house, so I guess that's a bit different. But, you know, it looked interesting. We'll have to see. Then, Torna, The Golden Country. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC coming in September, which looked pretty nice. Then they talked about those Pokeballs that they showed off for the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee thing at the special Pokemon event in Japan. They've said if you do get the Pokeball, it comes with a Mew inside of it, which obviously you can then bring into the game and everything. Then, here's some Super Mario Party coming October 5th. And then Fire Emblem, finally as a 3D console RPG. It's not on a... Well, obviously it's handheld technically, but it's not on like a GBA or an ETS or a 3DS. It's actually on sort of a mainstream major console. It looked really nice. And then they announced Fortnite is coming on Switch as of when they actually showed it. The big thing, though, that came out of that is the bad publicity for Sony, because if you have a PS4 account and you want to use your Switch to be able to play with it, you can't. So the whole idea of Sony not allowing cross-play became a big old thing. Then Overcooked 2 got shown off, coming out August 7th. I'm guessing that's for PC as well as Switch, but especially because we've been waiting for a year or so at least from Overcooked 1. Killer Queen Black, which was a nice sort of indie title that came out. That's coming up in the next few months. And also Hollow Knight, which looked good. New Octopath Traveler demo getting announced, which was like, here's something that you've been waiting for to hear about from one of our great franchises. And it's like, Octopath Traveler is a new franchise. It's not really like a big, long-awaited game. I mean, it is, sort of, but, like, that was the bit where I was expecting some Yoshi stuff, or some Kirby stuff, like they teased last year, or some Metroid Prime stuff, and it was just like, nope. The big thing with the demo is you can transfer save data over from it to the full game when it comes out in July. Then also Dragon Ball Z Fighters, or Dragon Ball Fighters, I guess you could call it, coming out at some point in 2018. Paladins of Fallout Shelter available now. Dark Souls Remastered coming to the Switch soon, but then again, still no date on that yet. Then Shinya Takahashi does a quick little speech from Japan. And then we get into Smash. Which isn't an updated version of Smash Wii U or Smash 3DS. It's much crazier than this. Because every single character that's ever been in Super Smash Bros. Is in the game. So that's 64 plus the newly announced at the end of it, finally Ridley, the big old beast from Metroid, makes her debut in the Smash franchise. I'm guessing there's other DLC coming soon, but the fact that they're starting out with a base 64 characters of everybody ever, although from what was said by Sakurai, you will be starting with like a small roster of maybe like 8 to 10 to 12 from like the original game, but then over time you'll be able to unlock all 64. They then went through like 5 to 10 minutes of like patch notes as if it's a fighter, like here's what the Duck Hunt dog can do, here's what Pac-Man can do, here's what Mario's done. We've tweaked this little bit there. There's 2 different versions of Bayonetta. Can you hear the difference in the voice? If you can't, don't worry. Not many people can either. It's bloody subtle as hell. They're doing Battlefield and Omega stages. Pretty much all the stages, to some extent, from the old games are being remastered in as well, including the F-Zero one, Big Blue, I think it was nicknamed or whatever. Along with all the stages from the Wii U and 3DS version. And the best bit about the Ridley bit at the end was like, I mean, admittedly, Daisy's coming in as an alternate skin, as an alternate fighter for Princess Peach. She does have slightly different moves, so it's sort of a new character, but not. It's not taking up a full slot. But the trailer with Ridley, it's like from the way it looked, from the design, Mario got murdered because you heard like a blood spurt, like a, and then just like the hat there, and like Mario's officially murdered. This is official. This is for kids. And another little bit that I did want to mention, because I just noticed it in the news that's sort of broken in the final bits of E3 into sort of afterwards. The ex-boss of Telltale is actually suing them. One of the co-founders is claiming breach of contract and other allegations. Basically, he got ousted as boss in 2017 and stayed on the board and said that the company was obligated to provide him with informational support as he prepared to sell his holdings in the common and preferred stock, but Telltale cut off the communication. And then at that same time, in September last year, Telltale hired a former Zynga exec as the chief exec. Then Kevin was removed from the board of directors, which he alleges was done without stock to cast a legitimate vote. It's legal stuff, which is always a touchy thing to talk about, but that's the suit that has been delivered, I should say. So we'll see what happens from that. And aside from that, there's a big row going on over EVE Online and Star Citizen, saying that Star Citizen introduced a new spaceship, the Drake Vulture, which will cost £112 to be able to buy. Which people then noted that the Vulture from Star Citizen looks a lot like the Vulture that's in EVE Online. It's... Oh, I see. It's the Venture. It's the Venture from EVE Online. Brilliant. Wesley, who wrote the article, put Vulture and Vulture when it's actually called the Venture in EVE Online. Either way, the design looks a lot like it. EVE Online sort of made a tongue-in-cheek thing as well about it. But there was a lot of people not entirely happy about some of the things from out of that. Bungie has confirmed that Cade is getting killed off. So, I guess you can cry. I don't know. But yeah, overall, also apparently Tofu and Hunk are showing up in the Resident Evil 2 remake as well. HD Tofu. You never had it so good. It's brilliant. And aside from that, that's pretty much E3. Other than apparently... Actually, no, come to think of it, the big thing is the behind closed doors demo of Cyberpunk. Everybody's been going, oh my god. I've got a feeling it's not coming out till 2020 because the fact that they never even said 2019. But, I mean, it's going to be first person, but I'm willing to sort of let that be. Because it's CD Projekt Red. They know how to make quality games. So yes, I guess that's wrapped it up in a nutshell. Mainly because I don't want to go too long, because I don't want the video to take forever to get over to Owen. Hope you enjoyed this. Check out the other content on the channel, be it movie stuff with AJ, wrestling stuff with me and Owen, food stuff with me or Owen, gaming stuff like this. Hopefully I'll be doing some more gaming stuff, even if it is sort of saying to come over to my Twitch page to watch me stream and whatever. That sort of thing, or watch the archives, I guess I should say. But then again, I'll probably be making another video soonish, because we're coming up to Summer Games Done Quick. Hopefully if this video goes up in the next day or two, so I'll probably do something for that and give my things to note and highlight in terms of what you should probably try and check out. So yeah, check out all the other content. If you're enjoying this or any of the other content, give us a subscribe, click the bell because the YouTube notifications are crap. And at last E3's over. Admittedly for me it's sort of been over for like 4 or 5 days, but at least the content's out there, which is more than can be said for Final Fantasy VII Remake.